from RTO here. Hope you're all well on this Wednesday morning. It's marathon day, and we've got a viewer's request today for you. We'll be looking at the albums of American rock band all the way from Chicago, Illinois, USA, Styx. Really good band. There are certain periods of this band's career that I'm not too keen on, but on the whole I like most of their stuff. Formed in 1972 and best known for their hard rock guitar synthesizer mix and a piano and upbeat tracks, some power ballads. They've had quite a few people in the band. Obviously you've had Chuck Panozzo, who was there from 72 to 84, and he's now still been on and off with them since 1990, but now since 1999 he's been with the band. James Young on guitars. Again, he started the band, and he was till 84. Then from 1995 he has been part of the band. Tommy Shaw again was from 75 to 84 and then came back in 95. We've got Todd Schumerman, who's been with them since 1995. Lawrence Gowan, keyboards and lead and backing vocals since 1999. We've got Ricky Phillips on the bass from 2003 onwards. Will Ankovich on guitars, who's recently been with them since 2021. And then we've got four members, of course. We've got John Kowalski, who's with them from 72 to 75 and sadly passed away in 1988. Dennis DeYoung was keyboards and backing vocals from 72 up till 1999. And then on drums, John Panozzo from 72 and till 1991, and he sadly died in 1996. And we've had Glenn Burtnick, who has done guitars and backing and lead vocals. He was from 1990 to 2003, where he was playing bass. So they've had a few people, and sadly they've lost a few people. But Dennis DeYoung is one of the most famous members of this band. I like them. So we've got 17 albums today, so we're going to get a crack in. So coming in at number 17, we have the 11th album, released in 1983, called Kilroy Was Here. It's a concept album and rock album about a world where music is outlawed. It is named after a famous World War II graffiti tag, Kilroy Was Here. It was the final album of original material released with the classic lineup of Dennis DeYoung, Tommy Shaw, James Young, John Panzo and Chuck Panzo. First track on here, Mr. Roboto. I've never liked this song. I don't know why. It reminds me of Sparks, but it's just not what I just don't like it. I know there's a lot of people out there that like that song, but here's one that doesn't. Second track is called Cold War. I like this. It's my favourite track on the album. It's got some nice guitar riffs, and it's one of the better tracks on the album. Don't Let It Go. Really don't like this song. It's a little bit wishy-washy. It doesn't stick with me, I'm afraid. High Time, horrible 80s production. The drums sound hollow. It just doesn't wear with me. I don't like that track again. Heavy Metal Poisoning. You know, when you hear the song Heavy Metal Poisoning, you expect something really raunchy. It's got a nice riff, and that's about it really. Then we get Just Get Through the Night. This isn't too bad. It's got a nice melody to it. It's not bad to listen to. Double Life, it's just more of that 80s rock garbage, overproduced, smooth sounds. It's not what I want to hear from Styx. Haven't been here before. More wishy-washy ballads, very lightweight, not very good at all. And the last track is a reprise of Don't Let It End. Hearing it once on this album was bad enough, but to hear it once again was a nightmare. Unfortunately, this is an album that should be put in a lead box and buried 500 feet under. It's one of the worst albums I've ever heard. I haven't got it. I listened to it again on Spotify, and it's just confirmed that I don't like this album. There's only one good track on it. The rest is that horrible 80s production. Some of the songs are just lifeless. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 1 out of 10. Okay, then, coming in at number 16, we have the 9th album, released in 1979, and it's Cornerstone. On here we've got Dennis DeYoung, James J.Y. Young, Tommy Shaw, Chuck and John Pananzo. First track is called Lights. We start off with that cheesy keyboard that was coming in. It turns you off, but the rest of the song isn't bad. It's got some nice riffs in it, and I don't actually mind it except that cheesy keyboard. Then we get Why Me. Don't mind this one. This is sort of a cross between a Supertramp and Electric Light Orchestra sort of sound, and it's pretty good. Then we get Babe. Yeah, I don't want to hear this song again. I hate it. Everyone seems to love this one, and when it's you get a compilation album of rock star songs, they put a Styx song, and it's always this. There are far better songs in the catalogue than this, so yeah, we don't want to hear that one ever again. Never Say Never. I like the acoustic guitar in this one. It's not a bad track. One of the better songs again on this album. Boat on a River. Now, I love this song. I like the accordion sound in this. It's a really nice little song, and I quite like listening to that one. Then we get Borrowed Time. It's quite a good little rocker. Even, you know, the production on it's pretty good. It's got a good sound to it. First Time. Oh, I'm just not keen on this. It's more that sloppy, wishy-washy stuff. Now, you know I don't mind a nice romantic song, but that's Give Me a Bucket, Please. Not very keen on that one. Then we get a track called Eddie. I love the guitars on this. The drum is really good as well. Excellent track. Love in the Midnight, again, solid track. My second favourite on the album. Pretty cool. Okay, I don't mind the rockers on this. They're really good songs. They really rock. But you know, when Babe, you can go and throw that in the same box as Kilroy Was Here. But on the whole, it has got some better stuff on here, and I do like the rockers on here. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 15, we go to the 10th album, released in 1981, and it is Paradise Theatre. On here we've got Dennis, James, Tommy, Chuck and John, that classic lineup. First track is AD 1928. It's a little bit suspect, and I'm just glad it's only 1 minute long. Rockin' the Paradise, just very early commercial 80s rock really. It's not too bad, it's listenable, it's got a nice beat to it. Well, I can cope with that one actually. Too Much Time on My Hands. The start of this reminds me of Phil Lynot's Yellow Pearl. I don't know why, and then you get that horrible keyboard, and it's just a pretty mediocre track. Nothing Ever Goes as Planned. This is a disco-y track. What were they thinking? You don't do disco, you're not a disco band, you're a rock band. Behave. Okay, The Best of Times. It's alright, but it's got some really good guitar solos on it. Excellent solos on that. Lonely People. Oh dear. This song is sort of mixed. It doesn't know if it wants to be a rock song, a soul song. Not one that it's a track I skip. She Cares. Nice piano on this. It is a really nice piano from Dennis. And I like that song quite a lot. Although it's a sort of slow romantic song, it's quite nice. Snowblind, love this. Got a really good sound on this. Nice track. Halfpenny, Twopenny, one of the better songs on this album. Nice guitar riffs, and I do like the lead guitar from John Young. Very good, very good. Bit tongue-tied this morning. Then we get another little ditty called AD 1958. It's certainly better than 1928's. Then we get this little instrumental to the end of the album called State Street Sadie. Nice little instrumental with some nice piano. Certainly a mixed bag on here. Some pretty good stuff and some pretty mediocre to bad. But again, the rockers rock. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 14, we have the 15th album, The Big Bang Theory, released in 2005. This is a covers album, and as for a covers album, it's pretty good. So on here, we have Tommy Shaw on vocals and guitars, James Young on the vocals and guitars, Lawrence Gowan on vocals and keyboards, Ricky Phillips on the bass, Chuck Panzo bass on Locomotive Breath, and the drums Todd Schumerman. First track on here is the cover of the Beatles' I Am the Walrus, and it's a pretty good cover, and I do like that track. Then we get I Can See for Miles from The Who. It's a half decent, I don't mind it. It's alright. Then we get a track that you very rarely get covered, and it's Can't Find My Way Home from Blind Faith. I mean, as you know, I like Blind Faith, and it's one of my favourite songs by Blind Faith, and I think they do a real good version of it. Then we get a Willie Dixon number. Loads of people always cover Willie Dixon. This one is It Don't Make Sense. Great version of this. Really good. Then we get I Don't Need No Doctor, which was originally done by Ray Charles, but this is a la Humble Pie style, and it's not a bad song. And in the Ray Charles is fabulous. The Humble Pie is cool, and this isn't too bad. I've got no problems with that. It's a good track. Then we get an Allman Brothers Band cover, and it's One Way Out. This is my favourite track on this compilation covers album. They did this great justice. The drumming is great. Great version of that song. One of my favourite songs by the Allman Brothers anyway. And they do a good song. Then we get a Procol Harum cover, A Salty Dog. And this is the second time it's been mentioned this week. And it's not as good as Transatlantic's, but it's pretty good. Then we get another great version of the Loving Spoonful's Summer in the City. Great version of this. Great band, Loving Spoonful. We are doing something on Living Spoonful at some stage. I love that version. Then we get Manic Depression from the Jimi Hendrix Experience. It's alright. It's not a patch on the original, of course. And then we get a a cover by the Pretty Things, which you don't get many people covering their stuff, and it's talking about the good times, and they do a half decent version of that song. I don't mind that one. Then we get Locomotive Breath, classic from Jethro Tull. It's alright, but it's not a patch on the original. Then we get Find the Cost of Freedom, which is a Crosby, Stills and Nash song. Pretty decent version of this. I kept it in the same sort of vein, so it's pretty good. And then we get Wishing Well. Do I need here another cover of Wishing Well? Not really. Everyone does this. I mean, the only one I really like that's a cover is Gary Moore's. And then they do one of their own. They do Blue Collar Man. This is a mellow version of the song here, but we'll talk about that later. But on the whole, I think this is a really, really good covers album. I don't say that very often, and I really enjoy this one because it's got something. Okay, Wishing Well was on here because everyone does that, but 90% of these are tracks that no one else has covered. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Time for a sip of coffee. Okay, then coming in at number 13, we go to the 16th album now. This was released in 2017 and it's called The Mission. And it's the first album of original material since 2003. On here we've got Lawrence Gowan, Tommy Shaw, James Young, Ricky Phillips, Chuck Panzo and Todd Schumann. Chuck Panzo plays bass on one track, 100 Million Miles from Home. Okay, the first track, it's just called Overture, so we know what we're getting. Great opening, lots of keyboards and guitars, all that sort of stuff you get on little intros. Then the second track is called Gone, Gone, Gone. Great track. Love the guitars on this. This is just good old-fashioned Styx. Really good. Then we get 100 Million Miles from Home. This is the one that Chuck plays on, and it's great bass line. One of Chuck's. Tell it's Chuck from the minute you hear it. Great track. I really like that track. Trouble at the Big Show. Maybe short, but it's got a fantastic guitar solo in it. Locomotive. It's alright. I do like the keyboards. It's not very rocky, but I do like the keyboard run in this. Pretty good. Radio Silence is the next track. Now, I love this one. It's my favourite track on this album. I love the keyboard solo on it, and then you get a great guitar solo. So it's really, really good. The Greater Good, pleasant enough song, but it's got some really nice harmonies. Time May Bend, bit of a filler on here. It's not very good except the guitar solo. Then we get 10,000 Ways. This is a short instrumental interlude and a few nice harmonies from the boys on sort of vocally type thing. Red Storm, very good track. It really goes back to the early days of Styx, this one, to be honest. I quite like that. All Systems Stable, 17 Seconds of Nothing. That should have just been added on to the beginning of this next track, Godive. It's got classic piano sounding, rocky guitars. I love this piece, it's nice. Mission to Mars, bit of a filler, not that good. I think this is a really good album. It goes back to the glory days of Styx. It was trying to create that sound, and they didn't do it too bad. Lots of tracks on this, but a pretty good listen. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, then coming in at number 12, we go to the 12th album, released in 1990. Edge of the Century. First Styx album featuring Glenn Burtnick. and it was the last album that featured John Pananzo before his death. So it's Dennis DeYoung, James Young, Glenn Burtnick, Chuck and John Pananzo. I hope I pronounced his name right. Pananzo, I don't know. Something like that. Apologies if I have got it wrong. First track on here is Love Is the Ritual. Oh dear, what's going on here? Good guitar riff, and that's all I'll say about that. Show Me the Way, don't mind it. I like the acoustic guitars in this, it's quite nice. Edge of Century. Oh, guitar solos are alright, but the keyboards are just terrible. It's that horrible sort of still 80s sounding sound, and I don't know why. This was the 90s. Why were you having 80s sounding keyboards in 1990? Then we get Love at First Sight. Oh dear. Wishy-washy, no beef behind it, just lacks something. All in a day's work. I just find this to be a little weak. It needs a little bit more behind it. Not Dead Yet. Great rocker. This is my favourite track on this album. Got some nice riffs, some great drumming on it. Pretty cool from the late James. Well Tonight. I love the harmonica in this. Absolute belting track. Really rocks. Carry On. Just one of them horrible ballads from Styx that I just don't like. Homewrecker. Good little track. Great riffs, some great drumming from John. I mean, why did I call him James on the drums? Oh dear, it's John. Sadly missed. Good drummer. Back to Chicago ends the album. The highlight of this though is the sax solo. Again, one of those mixed bag albums. It's got some good rockers on it, but some very suspect ballads. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 11, we have the 14th album from 2003, Cyclorama. It was the first album to feature Lawrence Gowan, and it is also the latter, so one of the first of the, I'll start again, shall I? It's also the latter of the two albums to feature Glenn Burtnick. So on here we've got Tommy Shaw, James Young, Lawrence Gowan, Glenn Burtnick, Chuck Pananzo, Todd Schumann. First track on this one is called Do Things My Way. It's not too bad. Nice little track. Nothing wrong with that one. Waiting for Our Time. Starts off with a really nice piece of acoustic guitar, and then it goes into a really strong rock track. Real good track that is. I like that one a lot. Fields of the Brave. Again, one of them lacklustre, wishy-washy shit tracks that doesn't do anything for me. Then we get this little 49-second thing called Borgius Pig. The first vocal bit is done by Billy Bob Thornton, and that's it. Then we get a cheeky little track called Kiss Your Ass Goodbye. This is with vocals are done by Tedious D. A little bit of fun with Tedious D. Jack Black, nothing wrong with it, it's just a little bit of fun. I've got no problem with it. These Are the Times. Great track. This is proper Styx. Oh, I love the harmonies. It's just a great little track. Yes I Can. Really nice acoustic song, and the harmonies on this are terrific. Great little song that is. More Love for the Money. The piano in this, it's very Beatles, and the guitar solo in this is pretty good. Together, I like the guitar work in it, but the rest of it's a little lackluster, I'm afraid. Fall in Yourself, Palm of Your Hands. This is background vocals by Brian Wilson. It's a very short thing, but boy can you hear Brian on that. Then we get Captain America, my favourite track on the album. I love that opening riff. It's just a great rock track. Terrific stuff. Then we get Killing the Thing That You Love. It's alright. One with Everything, not too bad. Love that opening riff again, and it does sound so much like the older stuff. Then we get a thing called Genki Dusaka. It's a hidden track with TDSD again, and then a hidden track called The Chosen Run. It's alright, but I don't want to have all that. That Genki Dusa thing is okay, but The Chosen Run is just a load of track, and I don't want to hear that on this album, or any album really. I just want to hear music. Okay then, it's a solid album. Got some really strong tracks on this, harking back to the good old days. It's an album that I enjoy listening to, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.2. Okay then, coming in at number 10, we have the most current album and the 17th, Crash of the Crown, released in 2021. So on here we've got Tommy Shaw playing an acoustic and electric guitars, mandolin, banjo, just some vocals. We've got James Young on here, Ricky Phillips, Chuck Panzo, Lawrence Gowan, bit of Mike Mellotron, which is always pretty cool, and Todd Schumerman on the drums. First track on here is called The Fight of Our Lives. Just one of these short little tracks, and it's got some lovely keyboards on here and synthesizers, and it's a nice little opener. Second track, A Monster. Very proggy. I like this. Nice harmonies on this. It's got great keyboard swirls in this as well. Very, very good track. Now, I don't know, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. I don't know if it's reverses or reverses, or I don't know. I'll put it up on the thing. You can take it into your thing. There you go. That's what the track's called. It's a solid track though. I love the harmonies on this, and it's got a great solo. I do like that track, even though I can't pronounce it. Hold Back the Darkness. Not a bad track either. Great vocal from Lawrence Gowan on this. He's a really good singer, and he really fits into this band. Great track. Like that one. Then we get Save Us From Ourselves. Very catchy tune. Very upbeat. Not bad at all. Then we get the title track, Crash of the Crown. Nice riffs in this. Really driving song. Really good. Wonderful Lives. Now, this sounds more like Bartley James Harvest. Another band that I like. I don't mind the track, and it's got some trumpet in this, and it sounds really good. Sort of mixture of Bartley James Harvest meets Chicago. Common Ground, best track on this. The reason why it starts off with that rich Hammond organ, the drums come in, lots of keyboard swirls. Again, really goes back to classic sounding Styx. Excellent track. Sound the Alarm, another good track. Some lovely acoustic guitar work in that. Very, very good. Long Live the King. Nice guitar, but it is a little bit lackluster. Needs a little bit more depth. Lost at Sea, 38 seconds. Little tunes, it's just a little interlude being Lost at Sea. Coming Out the Other Side. I don't like this. It's got what they call the Bangala drums from India. It just doesn't suit the track. Get rid of them, you know, it's alright. Probably one of the weaker tracks on the album. Then to those, it's a bit of a filler on it. It's a little bit, nothing special. Another Farewell, which is a 26-second instrumental, which should be just thrown onto the last track, which is Stream. Some really good harmonies on this, and I love the guitar work. It's really, really good. I think this is a really strong album. I enjoyed playing this one. I hadn't heard it. A lot of these bands, you don't listen to their newer stuff. You stick to what you like. But you know, this has opened me up, and I love this album, so I've now added it to my library because I think it's a really strong album, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, then coming in at number 9, we have the 13th album, released in 1999. It's the first studio album to feature Todd Schumann on the drums after replacing the great John Panzo, who died in 1996. And also this is the last album that featured Dennis DeYoung. And this is the last time that Chuck Panzo is credited as a full-time member, but he would continue as a part-time member. I like that. I don't want to be a full-time member, but I'll come back and just play on a few bits for you. So on here we've got Dennis DeYoung, Tommy Shaw, James Young, Chuck Panzo, and Todd Schumann. First track on this one is I Will Be Your Witness. Like the guitar work on this. Very, very nice from both Tommy and James. Excellent little track. Brave New World. This is an interesting arrangement. Got a catchy tune, like the whispery vocals on this. Goes all the way through the song, and it's a good song. Like that one a lot. While There's Still Time. It's a very gentle sort of song, but the vocals are really good from Dennis DeYoung, and I like that track a lot. Then we get number 1. So this is a solid enough track, nothing wrong with it, pleasant to listen to. It's nothing special, but it's still pleasant enough. Best New Face, a short, quirky track with some lovely keyboards in this, very catchy tune, like that one. Then we get What Have They Done to You? Strong guitars on this, really strong track, like that as well. Fallen Angel, it's an alright song, but the highlight of this one is the guitar solo, really good. Then we get my favourite track, Everything Is Cool, great little rock track, I love them riffs in this. Guitar solo is the best one on the album, and it's a pretty good track. Great Expectations. Again, we've got one of these wishy-washy sounding ones. It just needs a little bit more depth. Then we get Heavy Water. This is a great rock track. The drumming on this is really good. One of my favourite tracks on the album. What I like about this, you get halfway through, all of a sudden we get this acoustic guitar before we go back into some really hot, heavy rock stuff. Excellent. Then we get a track called High Crimes and Misdemeanors. In brackets, it's hip hop cracksy. We've gone from rock stuff to this sloppy nonsense and rubbish. Don't like it. Just fell in a little bit of a mediocre track, not particularly good. Goodbye Roseanne, it's just a dull ballad. And then we get a reprise of Brave New World, and you get another great guitar solo on it, which is pretty cool. I think this is one of their best album from the later years. It's got some great guitar work on this. Okay, there are a few tracks on here that are a little bit suspect, but on the whole, it's a really good listen. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.6. Okay, now we're getting into the era that I really love. So for me now, this is what I really like about Styx. The others are okay, there's some great stuff, but for me, from number 8 to number 1, these are to me the great albums from Styx. So coming in at number 8, we go back to that debut album released in 1972, self-titled Styx. On here we've got Dennis DeYoung, James Young, John Kowalski, Chuck and John Panzo. First track on here is called Movement for Common Man, split into little pieces. It's a 13-minute epic. It's just a great track, great prog rock track. I love the bit in the middle where it all slows down and you get a groovy guitar solo. Really strong track, really like that one of my favourite tracks by the band. Then we get Right Away. The piano work on this from Dennis DeYoung is just amazing. The drumming from John, awesome. Then we turn it on to side 2 because this is an album. And we got What Has Come Between Us. I love that bass line from Chuck. It's real heavy stuff. Great track. Best Thing is the next track. Love the guitar work on here. 1 minute it's acoustic and light, and then it goes into the heavy stuff again. I like how they do that. 1 minute you got this gentle stuff, and then we get stuff. Next track is Quick Is the Beat of My Heart. I love that chunky guitar. Bass line's great. My favourite track, Hammond organ. Sounds just great. After You Leave Me, again, great Hammond organ on this. Truly an amazing track. This is a great debut album. Not a bad track on it. Like the rest of these albums, there's not a bad track on them. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.9. Time for another drink. Have you noticed it's really dark today? Thanks, and I'm doing this a little bit earlier because I've got to go and help my friend Lee with something today. So coming in at number 7, we have the second album, released in 1973, and it's Styx II. So we've got Dennis, James, John, Chuck and John. First track is called You Need Love. What an opening to an album. One of my favourite Styx openers. That opening riff, then you get some great keyboards. A brilliant solo. It's dynamite. Really great track, and I love it. Absolutely love it. James Young, fine guitar. Or was it John Kurowski? I don't know, but whoever's playing it is doing a damn good job. Lady. Now this is when ballads from Styx were great. I love the piano, it's so gentle. A beautiful bass line, and then the Hammond organ lifts it up, and it's pretty good. Then we get a track called A Day. The bass line from Chuck is amazing. And you get nice gentle guitar work on this. It's really, really good. You Better Ask, just good old-fashioned rock here. American rock, American style, love that track. And then we get an instrumental called Little Fugue in G. A nice little bit of John Sebastian Bach here. Sort of brings you into side 2, and that goes straight into a track called Father OSA. One of my favourite Styx songs. The drumming in this from John is tremendous. Throw in Dennis's little keyboard, and you still got little bits of Little Fugue in G in there. Really good. Then we get Earl of Roseland. Just one of them great tracks. Starts off with a solo. Really strong soundtrack, fantastic stuff. I'm Gonna Make You Feel It. The keyboards at the beginning of this are brilliant. The drumming is phenomenal. It's such a proggy sort of hard rock sound. Great track. Then we got it's called Unfinished Song. This is the combo of the guitar solo and keyboard is fantastic. It certainly makes this track something, and it's a great way to end this one. Another great album, again, solid tracks from top to bottom. The quality of the music on this album is just dynamite. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 6, we go to the 6th album, released in 1976, Crystal Ball. This album actually remarked the recording debut of new guitarist Tommy Shaw, and it's the first time that he sings on this album. So we have got Dennis DeYoung, James Young, Tommy Shaw, and Chuck and John Panozzo. Think of Tony DiNozzo from NCIS. There you go. Okay, first track, Put On Me. Dennis's keyboards in this are terrific. It's a great track. The melody is wonderful. Really good. Then we get Mademoiselle. Now this is Tommy Shaw's first singing. He does a good track, and you can hear the two rich guitars on this as well. Solid track. Jennifer. This is a quiet, gentle track. It's one of my favourite sort of slower tracks by Styx. Fantastic song. Then we get the title track, Crystal Ball. I really like this track. It reminds me so much of Uriah Heep and the stuff they were doing at the time. The driving riffs, the harmonies, that keyboard solo. Very, very strong track. Then we get a track called Shoes. It's a bit of a boogie feel. It's one of them where you can click your fingers to stamp your feet. Really catchy song. This Old Man, nothing to do with This Old Man, he played one. I love the guitars on this. You've got the two guitars from John and Tommy. You've got Chuck's bass line. That's really good. Then we get a little track called Claire de Lune Ballerina. I love how they sort of incorporate Claire de Lune from Debussy into one of their tracks. It's an interesting sort of prog rock track. I really like it, and it's a great way to end the album. In these early years, Styx were very, very consistent with their albums, all of high quality, and this one's no different. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.1. Okay then, coming in at number 5, we go to the fifth album, released in 1975, and it's called Equinox. And this album marked the final appearance of John Kurweski, who left the band to spend time with his family. So it's Dennis, James, John, Chuck, and John, the two Johns. First track is Light Up. Again, one of my favourite openings of a album. I love the swirly keyboard on this. It really is fantastic. Great little track. Then we get Lorelei, a great track from this band. I love the keyboards. Great guitars again. It's just classic track by Styx. Mother Dear. Dennis is on fire again with his keyboards. John's drumming's fantastic on this, and the harmonies are just electric. Then we get Lonely Child. Great keyboard work here from Dennis. It reminds me of so much of Tony Banks' style of playing. There's some great little guitar bits that sort of interplay with the keyboards. My favourite track on the album is terrific. Midnight Ride, just a solid rock track. It's great riffs, great solo, just great stuff. Born for an Adventure, one of Chuck's best long bass runs on this. Everything else seems to work around his bass line. It's a brilliant track. Then we get a thing called Prelude 12. It's a short instrumental with some really nice guitar touches from Kurweski. Really good. Sweet Madam Blue just continues from Prelude 12, to be quite honest. The guitar work again is stunning. Some keyboards from Dennis, which really adds to the track. Nice way to end the album. Again, I love this. I think this is some of Dennis's best keyboard work that he did with Styx. Great in it, album from start to finish. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.2. Okay then. Coming in at number 4. An album again from 1973. A mere 3 months after Styx II was released in 1973. And it's The Serpent Is Rising. So it's Dennis DeYoung, James Young, John Kurweski, Chuck Panozzo and John Panozzo. First track, one of the classics by Styx, Witch Wolf. Brilliant track. One of their classics, of course, as I've just said. The guitar work on this is brilliant. James Young is on fire. Great track. The groove of Eglantine. I love that harpsichord on this. Really adds to the track. And then you get a great bass line from Chuck, and everyone else joins in, and it's really a groovy little track, that one. Young Man. An addictive acoustic guitar on this. The Hammond organ, more keyboard solos. It is a track that blows your head off. It's my favourite track. As bad as this, then you get a little sort of hidden track as well. It's one of the really great acoustic tracks, and the drum sound. And if you didn't think that was fantastic, you get this little hidden track that's a bit of fun and nonsense. Yeah, a bit different for the album, but it's a bit of laugh. Nice way to end side one, I suppose. A bit of a laugh. Winner Take All. For the first 2 seconds of this, you think you're going to get Roundabout by Yes, because it's got that start like Roundabout, and then it just goes into this amazing track. And I think this is like, I think at the time, I think this is America's version of Uriah Heep. There's so many comparisons about these two bands at this time. Great track. It's the sort of thing that you would think that Uriah Heep would do. It's a really strong track. 22 Years is the next one. More great riffs. The drums on this are so heavy and hard. The vocals from Dennis and James on here is brilliant. Really good track. Then we get Jonas Pasolta. Great playing from Chuck on this. Love that speedy guitar. Some fantastic stuff from Dennis on the ivories. Fantastic track. The Serpent Is Rising. Oh, this is again a great track. I love this. The riff's heavy. So Uriah Heep again. It's just a brilliant track. Then we get Krakatoa. This is something that shouldn't be on here. I don't understand what it's about. And then we get the Hallelujah chorus from Handel. Again, what's this doing on here? It's a great album. The last 2 tracks are pretty pointless, but it doesn't spoil how brilliant this album is. It's one of the this is a hard album to rank, because it is, although it's got 2 silly nonsenses and a little bit of nonsense on it, the other tracks are so high quality. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 9.3. Okay then, coming in at number 3, we go to 1974 now, the 4th album, Man of Miracles. So we got Dennis DeYoung, James Young, John Kowalski, Chuck and John Panozzo. First track, Rock and Roll Feeling, another powerhouse track to open the album. Combination of the guitars and keyboards are just brilliant. Having a Ball, love the start to this. The guitar is brilliant. Just a great rock track. Solid as you like. Golden Lark, soothing keyboards, lovely harmonies, terrific stuff. A Song for Suzanne. Besides the lovely bass line from Chuck, it's just soothing. It's one of them nice melody tribe tracks that I like. A Man Like Me, probably one of the tracks I don't like. Never really like that one. Then we get Lies. The bass line is great. Quirky little rock track. Nothing wrong with that one. Evil Eyes. Wow, what a track. Atmospheric bass line. Drumming from John's brilliant. This is the Panozzo brothers having a bell. You know, the Engine Room. They really make this track terrific. Southern Woman. This is just a great southern rock track from a band from Chicago. Amazing, and they're from Chicago and they're doing southern rock. It's really good, and I think this is their easy living. It's that sort of tempo. Then we got Christopher, Mr. Christopher. More stunning guitar solos. Great drumming from John on this. Brilliant. Then we get the Man of Miracles. A bit of an epic for a 4-minute 56 strong song. It's epic in proportions. The dramatic start, the keyboards, the bells, rich Hammond organs. They've thrown everything at this. The kitchen sink and all. It's a brilliant track. Apart from that one track that I'm not keen on, the rest of the album is solid. I love playing this. Again, it's got some great drumming, great keyboards, and I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 9.4. Okay, this is where it really got hard. I struggled with this. I really did, because these two albums, there's not much between them, in all honesty. Doesn't matter which one this is, they're the best two albums they ever put out. So I'm going to go with it today. It may change next week, who knows. But coming in at number 2, then we go for the 8th album, released in 1978. And it's Pieces of 8. We've got Dennis DeYoung, James, Tommy, Chuck and John. First track, Great White Hope. I love the start of it, then rolling drums and then the announcement going into the ring. It's just a great opening. I'm okay. A very glam rock start with this. It's a great rock track. It's just so catchy. Really like that one. Then Sing for the Day. What makes this song? The keyboards from Dennis DeYoung. He just adds atmosphere and depth, and the acoustic guitars sound great on this. I love this track. The Message. It's one of them little short little intros that go straight into the next track, Lords of the Ring. Great little tune. It's not heavy, but it's just classic Styx. Great track. Blue Collar Man. This is the best version. They did that mellow version on the covers album, but this is the proper version. That rich Hammond organ, the riffs. Oh my. That combination and that guitar and Hammond is brilliant. My favourite track on this album. Fantastic track. It is probably my favourite track by the band. Queen of Spades. It's got one of them nice gentle starts. Builds up, and then you get to the middle bit with some great drumming from John. Great little track again. Then we get Renegade. The start of this is the singing, and I love the beat to this. Another great track. The title track, Pieces of 8, some of the nicest harmonies that Styx ever did. Just complements the riffs on this great track. Akua, the track that I'm not very keen on, and I think this is why it's not number 1. I think it sort of let the album down. So close to being number 1. It's just let down by the last track, but the rest of the tracks are high quality. Some absolute classics on this album from the band. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.5. So my number one, and when I think of it now, rightly so, it should be number one. It's the 7th album, released in 1977, and it's the brilliant Grand Illusion. Dennis DeYoung, James Young, Tommy Shaw, Chuck and John Panozzo. Opens up with the title track, The Grand Illusion. A regal way to start this album. One of the best guitar solos. One of the best entrances to a song. A great track all the way through. Lovely track. Fooling Yourself. There's two things that really make this great. Chuck's bass line, and of course Dennis's keyboard just seems to flow. Don't know what he was on that day, but it flows. Then we get Superstars. The double guitar solo on this is just brilliant. They sort of, Tommy and James sort of just entwine their skills to create this really good solo. Come Sail Away, my favourite track. This is a nice gentle track, but it's got some of Dennis DeYoung's finest keyboard work. And then you think, oh, this is going to be slow all the way. You think, oh, this is really nice. And all of a sudden, bang, we get this tremendous riff. It's just brilliant. Song of Deception when you first hear this. You think you're going to get a nice ballad, and then, nah, you're going to get a rocker. Great little track. Miss America. Great track. The middle piece of this and the interplay between the guitars and keyboards. It's not like they're talking to each other. It's just a brilliant track. Man in the Wilderness. Another classic track. It's got one of my favourite guitar solos from this album. The drumming from John on this is superb. Castle Walls is next. The track that starts off with one of Chuck's best bass lines. Dennis comes in with them keyboards, and it starts to grow. In come the drums. It's just great prog rock. Fantastic. Then the grand finale. It's just one of them little pieces to end the album. You get this crescendo. It builds and builds up, and then, as with all good prog tracks, as I keep saying this, it fades away and everyone stops playing till you're left with nothing. Brilliant way to end this album. It is a great album from Styx. Again, some outstanding keyboard work from Dennis DeYoung, and it's got some of, I think, James and Tommy's great all-round guitar work on the album. It's one of them albums you cannot play the whole, just one track on it. You put it on and you play it from start to finish, all the way through. This is a belter of an album. I think it is my go-to Styx album. In fact, 9 times out of 10, if I want to listen to Styx, I'll go for this. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.6. Okay, another long one, but when you have so many albums from a really good band, especially their early stuff, as I said at the top of the show, I love the earlier stuff. But on the whole, I think, they're not a bad band, and they've come full circle. And what they're doing now is more in line with what they did in the early days. Okay, as this is a marathon, this is the only one you get today. I'll be back tomorrow. So we've got a battle of the bands for you, battle of the debuts tomorrow, and we're going to do a bit of glam metal, hair metal. Two of the bands that released albums within months of each other, and both bands took different paths in the end. And we're talking about Poison and Cinderella. Also tomorrow we have album artwork by British progressive metal band Threshold, and don't forget tomorrow night it's live stream night. We'll be back for some more chat, discussion, lots to talk about. Even got a Wally of the week for you. Talk about that tomorrow. So I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone, and bye for now.